Carlos Alcaraz does it again. The Mercian has reached his third final of the year with a solid, intelligent, and mature performance against Arthur FILS in the semifinals of the 2025 Barcelona Open, Conde de Godó. But what surprised the most wasn't just his game. It was his message after the victory. Today was about being disciplined, and I did it very well. In this video, we'll tell you how Carlitos secured the win, what changed since his last match against FILS in Monte Carlo, and why his mindset is making the difference this season. In just 1 hour and 15 minutes, Carlos Alcaraz wrapped up his semifinal against the Frenchman Arthur FILS with a clear 6-2, 6-4. This time there was no drama, no tight sets, no tense moments. Just precise, tactical, and effective tennis, the kind that's turning Carlitos into the dominant force of the clay court swing. The difference compared to Monte Carlo, where the match stretched to 3 sets, was clear. And Alcaraz himself explained it. I had our Monte Carlo match very fresh in my mind. My team reminded me of a few things I needed to change, and I think the key today was the return, stepping further into the court, he said. But there was something deeper in his analysis. Today was about being disciplined on court, something I often struggle with, and I think this time I did it very well, he declared honestly. A phrase that sums up the evolution of a player who now wins not just with talent, but with his head. On the Rafa Nadal court, with the crowd split between French and Spanish fans, Alcaraz imposed his will from the start. He capitalized on the young FILS mistakes, who racked up 38 unforced errors, and stayed solid even when the wind complicated the match. Carlitos didn't lose his serve even once, and with a break in the third game of the second set, he sealed his spot in the final. Not even the gusts of wind or FILS attempted comebacks could pull him away from his game plan. This will be Alcaraz's third final of 2025, after winning in Rotterdam and Monte Carlo. And the most impressive part is that he's reached this point without dropping a single set all week. His tennis, his physique, and his mentality are perfectly in sync. Now, Holger Rune awaits in the final. A familiar face, a tough rival. And another opportunity for Alcaraz to show that he's building something bigger than trophies, he's building a legacy. With his win over Arthur FILS, Carlos Alcaraz not only moves on to another final, he also shows that he's growing as a competitor. His statement, "Today was about being disciplined and I did it very well," is more than just a phrase, it's a sign that he's learning to manage matches intelligently, not just with flair. And with each win, each adjustment, and each well-read match, he's establishing himself as the global benchmark in tennis. The Alcaraz family dream at the 2025 Conde de Godó has come to an end. At least partially. While Carlos Alcaraz continues to shine in the main draw, his younger brother Jamie has bowed out of the Under-14 tournament after falling in the semifinals. In this video, we'll tell you how Jamie Alcaraz's match unfolded, his older brother's reaction, and why, despite the defeat, this family story continues to capture hearts in the tennis world. It was a story straight out of a movie, two brothers competing at the same time in one of the most important tournaments on the Spanish calendar. Carlos Alcaraz chasing his third Godó title. And Jamie, the family's youngest, making a great impression in his debut appearance at the Under-14 event. But this Saturday, the dream of a historic double came to an end. Jamie Alcaraz fell to fellow Spaniard Pepe Garcia 6-2, 6-1, in just 51 minutes. The Mercian, the second seed, couldn't bring out his best tennis against a solid opponent who will now fight for the title in the final. Despite the loss, Jamie's performance was more than commendable. In the quarterfinals, he had convincingly defeated Tim Franco, earning applause from his older brother, who didn't hesitate to attend the match and support him from the stands. Carlos Alcaraz has spoken fondly and proudly of his brother several times this week. "I love watching him play whenever I can. It had been a while since I'd seen him, and I was excited," confessed the world number 2. And while many wonder if Carlos is his main advisor, the answer is surprising. "Don't think he asks me much. I just wish him luck and that's about it. Actually, it's my dad who follows him more closely. He's the one who tells me if he's improving or a bit stuck," Carlitos said with a laugh. One of the things that stood out in Jamie's match was his style of play. Carlos, amused, commented, "He hits too many drop shots. I don't know who he picked that up from," clearly referring to one of his own trademark weapons. On his brother's future, Carlos Alcaraz was cautious. "Hopefully he keeps going. The most important thing is that he loves tennis. If he maintains that passion, he'll keep improving. I don't know how far he'll go, but I wish him the best." The dream of a family double at the 2025 Conde de Godó ends here. But the story of the Alcaraz brothers is far from over. While Carlos continues his quest for another trophy, Jamie has taken his first steps in a major tournament, with the example and support of a world champion by his side. The most important thing, as Carlitos says, is that the little one enjoys being on court. And that, beyond any scoreline, is already a big victory. Holger Rune has set off all the alarms in Barcelona. The 21-year-old Dane has reached the final of the Conde de Godó with a spectacular performance against Karen Khachanov, and his current level makes him a serious threat to Carlos Alcaraz or Arthur Fils, who still had to decide the other finalist. In this video, we review Rune's exhibition, his growth during this clay swing, and why his presence in the final could change everything. Holger Rune has been a well-established prospect for several seasons, but in 2025 he seems determined to make the big leap. In Barcelona, the Dane has displayed a dominant version of himself, especially in the semi-final against Karen Khachanov, whom he defeated with a commanding 6-3, 6-2 in just over an hour. Rune was a real whirlwind on the Rafa Nadal court. After a few tight games early on, he broke the Russian's serve in the 7th game and never looked back. In the second set, it was a total show, pinpoint drop shots, magical passing shots, a devastating forehand, and above all, a return game that completely dismantled Khachanov. At this level, Rune didn't just earn his spot in the final, he sent a clear message to the locker room: he's back, and he wants the title. This performance is no fluke. Despite a rocky start to the season, including a withdrawal due to illness in Monte Carlo, Rune has found his rhythm again on clay. The surface, which enhances his variety of shot making, seems to be his ally this year. In the tournament, he had already eliminated Casper Ruud, the 2024 champion, and now adds another big win over Khachanov. The Scandinavian's tennis looks more mature, more controlled, and at the same time just as unpredictable and creative as ever. The fact that he won his semifinal so easily also gives him a key factor: rest. He'll have more time to recover before the final, which could be a deciding factor against a more fatigued opponent, whether it's Carlos Alcaraz or Arthur Fils. Holger Rune has done his part, and done it in style. His level in Barcelona has been so high that many now consider him the favorite to take the title. His exhibition against Khachanov was a warning, a reminder that the Dane remains one of the most dangerous talents on tour. Now, all eyes are on the other semifinal. Will Carlos Alcaraz be able to stop this Scandinavian wave? Or will Arthur Fils try to surprise in the final? Carlos Alcaraz has delivered a true masterclass of composure in Barcelona. In a match that promised power, intensity, and talent, the Mercian not only responded, he imposed total dominance over Arthur Fils to reach his third final at the Conde de Godó. In this video, we'll tell you how Alcaraz secured a solid victory, what changed compared to their previous encounter in Monte Carlo, and why this version of him might be the most dangerous of the season so far. The clash between Carlos Alcaraz and Arthur Fils was billed as a showdown between two of the most explosive forehands on clay. Just 8 days ago in Monte Carlo, Fils had pushed the Mercian to the limit, forcing a thrilling comeback. But in Barcelona, the story was very different. From the very first point, Alcaraz showed he had learned his lesson. He pressured the Frenchman from the baseline, unsettled him with deep returns, and stayed a step ahead throughout. The result was clear: a 6-2, 6-4 victory in just over an hour. More than the scoreline, what stood out was Carlitos' tactical maturity. Instead of chasing highlight shots or impossible winners, he focused on building points and staying disciplined. "Keep going like this," his team told him from the bench, and he followed through with precision. Alcaraz's consistency completely threw Fils off his rhythm. The Frenchman, who had raised doubts for the Mercian in their last encounter, this time crumbled amid unforced errors, double faults, and frustration. The first set was a display of total control, 2 breaks from the Spaniard and no break points faced. For the first time in the tournament, Carlitos didn't drop his serve. His balance between power and solidity was key, and he showed what was likely his best level of the year. If in Monte Carlo he was a champion amid uncertainty, in Barcelona Alcaraz is sailing with authority. His game is clearer, his body stronger, and his mind focused. Now Holger Rune awaits him in the final, in what promises to be an electric showdown between two of the circuit's brightest young stars. With this win over Fils, Carlos Alcaraz not only moves into another final, he confirms that he has found the most dangerous version of his tennis, one that combines talent with discipline, explosiveness with control. The dream of a third Godó title is just one match away, and his rival will be a red-hot Rune. Will Carlitos repeat his traditional dive into the club's pool? What did you think of Alcaraz's level against Fils? Do you think he's ready to beat Rune and take the title? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the 2025 Conde de Godó final. See you very soon with more top level tennis.